Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. And as you see, I have stuff here. It's a mess. I apologize. But I want to do a video. Today I watched it, and my son's right there.
Papa.
What?
Papa.
Well, come here. Give me in the video. All right. So this is my son Cash, if you haven't seen him before. Anyways, so I saw a video called, a documentary called Travis Scott, Look Mom, I Can Fly. And, okay, my son being crazy. And you guys wonder why I can't do videos. Anyways, but the documentary was, it was kind of out there. And it was, and it was interesting, but still trying to figure out what the point of the documentary was. Because if the point was to show like how much he cares about the music, then okay, it was there. But if the whole point was to show you more about Travis Scott and what he's all about, didn't really look like a very good documentary for him. All it really showed was, like I said, pretty much my point on the movie is, or the documentary was that it showed you how passionate he was about the music he creates, and it also showed you, it showed clips of him when he went to Astro World in Houston, Texas. I guess it's an old amusement park that used to be there that's no longer there. I don't know if they built that amusement park yet, but supposedly near the end of the movie, no spoilers, ain't really a spoiler kind of thing, but they talk about how because of his Astro World that came out, his album that came out, popularity for them bringing back an amusement park to Houston, Texas was a big deal. So they were going to, the plan was, at the end of the documentary, the mayor came on there, I think it was the mayor or governor, one of the two, and said that they were going to bring an amusement park back to Houston, Texas, because of what he had accomplished. Now, this documentary, it doesn't show you how smart he is, but I think he is actually smart. But he just doesn't come off that smart in the documentary. That's my only problem with this documentary, is that if it's who he is, then it's kind of out there. So this video ain't going to be very long because it's a documentary and there's really nothing to say about this documentary. It's just that it was kind of bland and it really didn't show anything, to be honest. It really just showed how they were coming up with the raps, and he was sitting there. I think pretty much they showed him like on the couch just sitting there coming up with stuff, and he's like, oh, that clicks, and then it shows him mixing it down and replaying it and stuff. So it's kind of cool in that way. I wish they would have showed kind of more of that, but it really didn't go into much detail other than that, except just showing that stuff. So if you're a huge fan of Travis Scott, you might like it, but even then, like I said, there's nothing really there. It's just, if you're a huge Travis Scott fan, maybe you want to watch it once or twice, and then you're probably going to be done with it, and you're never going to watch it. Is it something that you should buy when it comes out? If it comes out, which usually things come out on DVD at some point. What? It's books. Look what's on the page. Okay. But, see? And you guys wonder why I can't get any content out. Anyways, but Travis Scott was, he's interesting. I will say that. He's interesting. Like I said, I don't think he's dumb, but he comes off like that in the documentary. And he comes off as just a person who worked his butt off. He took opportunities when opportunities came up. He, did what he could to get through. And hearing a little bit of the music, I kind of, like, I knew some of the songs. I didn't know that it was him. So I'm probably going to look into doing probably some albums coming up from Travis Scott, reviewing them. Like I said, I have no boundaries when it comes to music. I like every type of genre. And you could think of a genre, I probably like it. I mean, let's not be stupid and talk about jazz or polka or something like that. I'm probably not much into them. But, like, the main genres, country, metal, rock, hard rock, classic rock, country, I think I just said country twice, rap, death metal, black metal, thrash metal, all that kind of stuff. There's probably one band in every genre that I'm a huge fan of, and it goes the gauntlet. Even in religious music, I have a couple people in there I like, and groups and bands and stuff I like to listen to in those. groups that I don't mind. Third Day is a great religious kind of rock band. They're kind of like Alabama-esque, so they're really kind of good. Mercy Me, Third Day. Uh, Mercy Me is kind of okay. I'm not a really big Mercy Me fan. I don't know why I said Mercy Me. Third Day is the one I was talking about. They're kind of like Alabama uh, in Christian rock world. They kind of sound like that to me. Kind of in that genre. So if you like Alabama or something like that, you probably kind of like them. Except if Alabama was a rock band, that's probably what they would sound like. Third Day. Um, but they are religious, but they don't overly do stuff, I think. That's why I'm a big fan of that. But Travis Scott, like I said, this documentary was, like I said, it's really nothing special. Like if you kind of want to know what Travis Scott's all about, it might be kind of a helpful documentary. Maybe your kids listen to Travis Scott. You might want to listen to it. You might want to watch it. The thing that alarmed me the most was the lyrics in the songs. And it's crazy in today's world that drugs are still a major problem. And you would think by now, with all the ads going towards cigarettes and things like that, okay, I think we fought the battle with cigarettes. Why don't we move on to the drugs and try and get the drugs, educate people about these drugs and start doing the truth commercials about other things other than cigarettes. Get off the cigarettes. I think we did what we could, and the people that want to smoke now, leave them be. Now let's move on to other things, because in his songs he talks about marijuana, which my opinions on marijuana is very basic. It's that it's stupid. It's just like alcohol to me. Now when you start talking about the other drugs, that's where it gets a little bit crazy, because then you're talking about like very strict laws that are in, and if you get caught with those, I think there's a bigger penalty for those than there is with weed and marijuana. But in terms of those, that's what the truth that people need to be doing videos about, not smoking. Get off the smoking kick, get out of that. I'm tired of seeing commercials about that, because now it's just really pointless. It's 2019 and we're still doing the do not smoke campaigns from Truth and Dare and whoever is doing them now. It's a waste of time in my opinion. But that's the one thing that alarmed me about this, because he talked about popping pills in the songs and things like that. And I think that's where we got to kind of educate our younger people, is that, yeah, these rappers are talking about that. And the reason why they talk about it is it's so prevalent in some of these bigger cities. It's very, very, it's like almost like a disease that it gets infested in the lifestyle of certain big cities. And, I'm not saying that I've ever seen stuff like that, but I know that it exists because I used to live in bad areas of Muncie, and you could just tell like things were going down in that area, and people were being a little hush hush and quiet and looking over their shoulder and stuff like that, and it was kind of you just didn't know what was going on in Muncie, Indiana, because it's getting bad. It's almost as bad as Indianapolis. I know Indianapolis, it's probably scattered everywhere. And, Muncie, Indiana is getting as bad as Indianapolis, Indiana, and maybe even worse. I think they have their murder rate's gone up. And talking about this, it's just talking about the lyrics of Travis Scott. They're kind of, I would say, controversial. I don't know if parents will listen to the lyrics, but he talks about rolling up and joints and, popping pills, and what else he's talking about? He was talking about some other stuff too. And they didn't even mention anything about that. It's very one-sided. There would have been more emphasis on this documentary, made it better, if there was people's opinions about his music being negative, and him responding about it. That's what they needed to show. That's what they didn't show. And that's why this documentary was kind of lame, I think, because it really didn't show both sides of the coin. And they kept on showing the lyrics of him, and it's like, that's awesome, but you're not telling why is he saying stuff about popping pills? Why is he saying stuff about weed? Why is he smoking weed in the freaking video? He's actually smoking weed in the video, in the Netflix documentary. So it's something that if you know your kid, this is something to watch if you know your kid's into Travis Scott. Because if he's into Travis Scott, is he into the stuff he's talking about? And that's the thing, you sit down, have a discussion with your kid, And, my perspective on drugs and weed and things like that is that there's a time for everything. And some people like to experiment when they're younger. They like to do things. I did things in the past. I've experimented with stuff. didn't ever do any like super heavy drugs or anything, but I've smoked weed. I've took a couple pills in my time. I wasn't a heavy drug user, but I did try a couple every once in a while. And I haven't gone to that in the past 10 years. I have not done any of that. Besides getting some medication for stuff that I've had, and I've just finished them off. If they were technically you say the good stuff, but I'm not going out there getting them from people. If I happen to have some extra, I may use them just to calm down at times. And I think that's where I think some of the medicines could be helpful in society if used correctly. But anything can be harmful if used incorrectly. And that's what's wrong with the drug situation in America, is that all these people are using the drugs and things like that negatively. And if we could use them, as medicine, that's when it becomes good. But there's also things that people create that is bad. And I'm not going to go into it, but where I live, meth is a hell of a drug. And it's everywhere. And it's becoming a very, very prevalent. I don't want to say that Breaking Bad made it popular, because I'm sure it was probably popular before then. And Breaking Bad just shone a light on it, saying that it's out there. And that kind of makes me not want to really talk about Breaking Bad to anybody or talk about my feelings for that show. But the show was really, really good. But did it shine a light on a drug that people didn't know about? That's my question. How many people watch that show that aren't very smart in the brain? We've got a few of them in this world, because people just don't think anymore. They don't research things before they do it. Some kids, they hear these rappers talk about drugs, rolling joints, and then they think, oh, it's okay to do this other drug too, because it's just a drug. And that's where it gets a little bit negative, and people start thinking about that kind of stuff. And that's where Travis Scott, I think that if you're sitting down, if you're watching this documentary and you see this documentary, maybe sit down and talk to your kid. If they're old enough to understand, old enough to have that conversation, ask them and say, hey, have you did this? Are you going to try this? Have your friends done this? Tell them what the effects are. Tell them what it could do for you if something happens. There's consequences to everything. And I think kids growing up today need to know the consequences. There's not a lot of shows on TV that shows consequences. There's shows that show consequences, but parents don't want to let their kids watch them because they're too graphic. And if your kid's 13, 14, you may not want them watching those kind of shows, because it'll show other bad things that you don't want your kids to know about. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about in this video. This video was, like I said, it was just really kind of bland. Halfway through it, I almost wanted to turn it off, but I'm almost through it anyway. There's 20 minutes left at the point where I was just going to turn it off. Like I said, it was kind of bland. Like I said, the only reason I wanted to watch this is to kind of learn more about Travis Scott. Up. Okay, well, we're almost done with the video. Let me put this car down here. Okay. But that's all I want to talk about today. Travis Scott, documentary, Look Mom, I Can Fly. It's okay. Like I said, it's only if you want to learn about Travis Scott. Really is the only way. What's his song sound like? It's kind of a cool thing to watch on Netflix. Just to waste time, turn it on, play on your phone, and just watch it in the background. It's something for noise if you need to watch something. But to me, wasn't really that great. It was okay. Nothing comes out of it. It's not something that I'm gonna go, oh man, I really want to watch this show. No, because there's no point to the documentary. These documentaries that have no point to them, I've always seen a handful of documentaries that are like that. That there's no point to the documentary. I don't even know why they made the documentary. But when they do that, it's kind of, I don't know why they sit there and try and make these documentaries that have no point to them. They really need to have a point. Hold on. They really need to have a point when creating the documentary. I'm going to pinch you. Try to put a pacifier on him, and he's like moving his hands around. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I tried to make this as long as I could, kind of long on, or go longer and talk about it. You're going to fall off. This kid is crazy. Anyways, Cash, us, we had a good video. Probably heard him, thank you. You heard him talk. That's Cash. He's weird. He's a cool kid though. Anyways, we're gonna hang out, watch some stuff, and hopefully I'll have another video coming up soon. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Leave comments, anything you want me to watch. Is there any documentary that actually has some solid information to it or reason of having the documentary I can watch that is halfway good, not completely boring? Like, looks like Netflix. And why is Netflix, like, all of a sudden, like, all about serial killers and murdering, and it's weird. It's like, I'm into that stuff. Trust me, I like to watch that kind of stuff, but I don't need every single show to be like that. What? I know, I'm turning it off. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Hope you guys like the video. Lock the video. Lock the video, guys. Anyways, I can't talk. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. I'll catch you guys later. Keep rocking. And hopefully you keep on watching Brad Tragic. Later, guys. See you later, Cash. No? Okay.